Well, hey everybody, this is Double RPG here, and the road to E3 continues, as we are here for episode 14 of the Riff Table Arcade. And this time around, we're going to be talking about the huge leak that is based on what Sony has planned for the PS4 at E3 this year. But joining me, we have the one and only 16-bit Jeff.
What is up?
And we have my good friend joining us again, VenixKensai. Paul, if you'd like to call him. Hey, Paul.
Hello.
Yeah, so this three-man group is back again with another exciting episode for you all. And as I said, we're going to be talking about Sony this time. And I really wish that Jerry could have been here, since he could have given us his 2 cents on what he thinks about many of these, thinks about this huge leak, because I definitely wanted to hear his 2 cents. But, we'll definitely hear what he has to fully say at E3 coming in the next few weeks. But for now, we'll just stick with us. So, but before we get started, how are you guys doing this week?
Good.
And that's good. And
Good.
Paul?
Yeah, just same old.
Yep. Any of you going to go see the new Godzilla movie?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to be doing that tonight.
Oh, nice.
I'm first going to wait on the reviews. Normally I wait for that, and then I go from there.
Fair enough.
I mean, I've seen IGN's review of it, and they said it's actually pretty damn good.
Well, to be fair, anything will be better than the abomination we got back in '98.
Oh, of course, definitely. I mean,
Oh, the one that with the lead role was the guy that does musical things. Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah.
Thanks, Bueller.
I know that,
Matthew Broderick,
but-
Ferris Bueller.
But let's not forget the most iconic line for that movie. That's a lot of fish.
Oh, God. That is a lot of fish.
That's a lot of fish. Yes.
Should have been more like, that's a lot of bull on our parts.
Oh. Yeah. Well, she's pregnant. Yeah, great. That's nice.
Yeah, great. I don't care about the human characters. Let's just focus on something that should have been considered as Godzilla, but instead looks more like a T-Rex with Godzilla's dorsal fins on the back. Who's really weak.
Oh, yeah. If you don't know what my good buddy Double Art's talking about, go watch Godzilla Final Wars and you'll see what we were talking about.
Oh yeah, and I own Final Wars, and that movie kicks tons of ass.
Uh-huh.
What are we talking about today, then?
And, well, I mean, we're talking about Godzilla, even though Sony originally had the rights to it. And speaking of Sony, we're here for we're here to talk about their huge leak. That's what. So anyway, I don't think we need to talk about Godzilla any further, and let's get back on track with what we're talking about today. So, since Jeff was originally supposed to be, was originally the host last week, and since he was supposed to be talking about the reveals on Microsoft's end, this time I'm going to be the host, and he's going to be talking about what is going on Sony's end. So, Jeff, I fully leave it on you this time, my friend. So, What do you say we get started?
That sounds great. Be forewarned, we're using an article from Yahoo Games, but this originated from DualShockers.com. So as always with these leaks and rumors, take this with a huge grain of salt. But enough said. Apparently, if I recall correctly, the original source, i.e. DualShockers, supposedly knows someone that was in contact with Sony's worldwide studios and also with the BBH New York marketing firm that works for Sony in regards to these promotions.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, the information that we're going to detail below is supposedly what they're going to announce or even tease at their upcoming E3 presser. Basically, what is here is basically what's going to be shown and talked about. So let's get to that, shall we? The first one. Now, I'm not going to be cynical, but right off the bat, I don't believe this one because of recent events that have happened with not only Worldwide Studios but this particular studio in question. And the first one is Uncharted PS4 3-minute trailer showcasing in-engine footage intercepted with gameplay
interspersed.
Oh, interspersed. Thank you. With gameplay segments. Visuals are supposedly unprecedented and a benchmark for console graphics. Summer 2015 release, it looks absolutely stellar, features tropical setting and different time periods with Nathan Drake and Sir Francis Drake.
So it's basically kind of pulling a Spider-Man Edge of Time gameplay mechanic or something similar to Onimusha 3 Demon Siege with playing as the modern-day character where you're playing as a past character.
Right.
Okay. But
I'm kind of with you though, Jeff, because I don't know if I believe this one either, especially with all the writer, what's her name, that
Amy
just
Hennig.
left, and yeah, I don't know.
It's not only that, but Justin Richmond, who was the creative director, who was going to be the creative director on Uncharted, the PS4 Uncharted game, who was also the creative director on Uncharted 3, he just recently left to go to Riot Games, the creators of League of Legends. And there's been a lot of other leads from the same company too, so you know what? I'll be completely shocked and I'll be fine, but I don't see it being a 3-minute trailer because from what's been going on, and especially with Todd Stachwick, who was going to be the main antagonist, you know, the voice you heard from the original announcement back from November, he's absolutely gone. He left.
Jesus.
Because he...
Well, I'm sure Nolan North will be, you know...
I'm sure he'll be back.
Of course, but that being said, the reason why he left was because he's working with Amy over at Visceral for their
Visceral.
Star Wars game. He's in fact co-writing the story with her. So there must be some bad blood between those two.
Oh yeah, and especially when we were talking about this last week before we talked about Microsoft's thing about how it seems that Naughty Dog has been getting too power hungry because of the likes of Neil Druckmann. I really can't see a 3-minute trailer happening. I mean, if they did something like maybe like a 1-minute teaser, that's fine. But it's just with something, just very short and very brief, that's fine. But I really don't see this happening quite yet.
But at the same time, this could have been what was originally going to be detailed because let's face facts, anything can change in an instance, like we're talking about right now. So maybe this was the original idea with the original vision intact. However, with recent events, like we're talking about right now, I don't expect it to be a 3-minute in-game gameplay trailer. I don't expect it coming out summer 2015. In fact, with recent events, I expect this coming out fall of 2016. Because what they have all finished out right now, I'm telling you, they are going to just start fresh. They're going to start from scratch. They're going to do a full-on reboot with this title.
Yeah. I mean, if anything, if Naughty Dog wanted to get into the PS4 lifespan immediately, then they should have delayed The Last of Us to make it a PS4 launch title.
Yeah, I agree, because that's...
And it would have looked absolutely beautiful on PS4.
I agree with you, Paul. You both had great points, but the thing that ticks me off is that this game was originally announced for PS3, and it was a great way to end off the era that was the PlayStation 3. However, here we go. Not only have been more beneficial for PlayStation 4, since when you start a new IP will be more beneficial for a start of a new generation. But also, I always felt that game, especially when you get to the winter segment before the announcement of the DLC, you felt like there was something off with the story.
Oh yeah, the story was rushed. Unlike the last half.
And it goes back to the point, just like when I even saw and I'm sorry if we're going like off topic for a second, but this is in regards to detail with Naughty Dog. But if there's one thing that annoys the hell out of me, even with the supposed final cover art they have for the PlayStation 4 remastered Naughty Dog's game, The Last of Us, I don't like they say like. People's like, oh, game of this generation to over 200 plus Game of the Year awards. I'm sorry, but I'm one of those firm believers that don't firmly believe that I don't believe it fully deserve a 10 out of 10. It's not a perfect game. It's in the same regard as Spec Ops: The Line. A phenomenal game, a really dark game, but it's that one game you can only play once and never go back to. Not because of the tone, but just because once you play it, you know the story beat by beat.
Yeah, there's no incentive to play it again, like no replay value whatsoever to, try to fully master it.
And I know people are saying, oh, but the same thing can be said about Uncharted, which is true, but you can go back to it because it has a nice balance. You have characters that you care for. It has a story that's engaging. But this game is such a downer in a good way because it's really good. But it's one of those games that it feels like it just should really be a one-time deal. It shouldn't have a sequel. It should be continued. It just should be left at that.
Yeah.
That's how I personally feel about the whole situation. I know people
Right.
are different, but I just want to get my point across saying that I really don't think it's a 10 out of 10 game.
It's overrated.
Yeah, exactly. In all due respect.
Anyway.
But going back, Uncharted PlayStation 4, I do think was the original intent that they were going to show a 3-minute trailer, but since with recent events like with Amy Hennig leaving, Justin Richmond, who left on better terms than supposedly what we heard about Amy and between her, Neil Druckmann, and the other guy, Bruce Strantley, I don't believe it's going to be coming out or even be announced for a summer 2015 release. I'll be shocked. I really would. But with recent circumstances, I just see us getting a 1 minute or even 1 to 2 minute CGI trailer, kind of like we did when Uncharted 3 was first announced. But instead of a summer 2016 release, I think it's gonna be, a summer 2015. I think it's gonna be a fall 2016 or an early 2017 release now because of what's happened.
Probably.
Yes.
Anyway, let's go ahead and continue, man.
Yeah. Next one is Media Molecule. Their new title will be a landmark for the recently announced Sony PlayStation Morpheus project, which is their recently unveiled virtual reality headset that they showed at GDC this year.
Basically, it's supposed to compete with Oculus Rift.
Pretty much. 3D world building, beautiful, quirky visuals, extremely creative and fun, possibly referring to Entwind, trademark filed last week by Sony Computer Europe. Not sure, late 2015 title.
Media Molecule's case, I could definitely see this happening because they've always been very creative with their games, especially with their recent PSP game. What was that PSP or PS Vita game? Tearaway.
Yeah, Tearaway. Yeah, that was a really good game too.
And especially when you take a look at the Little Big Planet games that Media Molecule has done, they're very creative too. That's something that Media Molecule has been very good with is creativity when it comes to not only the gameplay but just like the worlds that they create in general. They're just all very creative.
And it all appeals to everybody. It's one of those games that's like, it's even myself, being 20-something and trying it out and playing as a little sack boy or for like a little kid. Now, here's my question: will you be able to run Facebook on this headset?
Oh God!
Oh, God!
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started.
But yeah, in all honesty, in all seriousness, I think this would be an interesting leap for Media Molecule to kind of break the mold of traditional game design and try to keep going in their own unique direction and beautiful, quirky direction.
Agreed. Now for the late 2015 release, do you guys see that being true or not?
I could see that being possible, but maybe early 2016 by the latest.
It depends on the tech and.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think even later than that.
Yeah.
It depending on if it's brand new tech.
Yeah, because I actually agree with Paul on this one due to the fact that even when it was announced at GDC, usually like when a product is announced at either there or even at a later events like say E3 or Gamescom or even Japan's big events equivalent to us, which is this big game show, they have a concrete release, whether it's a concrete or a tentative release. They always say like June 2016 or June 2017 or so on and so forth. When this was revealed, there is no release date whatsoever for this peripheral. No one knows when this is coming out, and even I remember distinctly that Shuhei Yoshida, worldwide president of Sony Computer Entertainment, he even said himself that don't expect this to come out this year or next year. It's going to take a couple of years at best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it's possible, but it. But then again, it probably is more. It actually makes more sense that it comes out later.
Exactly. Yeah.
But anyway,
especially if there is a thing for the Oculus Rift, and if they start producing different quote-unquote games for it, if they try to push it back then, so like if let's say the Oculus Rift comes out 2017, they have enough time to perfect anything and everything to do with it.
Hey guys, you got a new way how you can play Farmville. You want to know what that is? Oculus Rift, baby.
Oh, jeez.
Don't forget the microtransactions.
Yes.
Microtransactions.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot, Zuckerberg. Thanks a lot.
Anyway.
Yep.
let's continue.
Yeah, the next one is not surprising, since I won't be surprised if we see this with not only the PlayStation 4, but last week's topic with the Xbox One in the coming months. Gran Turismo 6 is coming to PlayStation 4 as a full 1080p and 60 frames per second repackaged title in the vein of Gran Turismo 7 Prologue. Stunning visuals, extra features, which include social connectivity, new tracks, DLC, and it's coming mid to late 2015.
Like you said, I wouldn't
believe it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I do believe it, because it doesn't. And when you take a look at some of the games that released on PS3, it seems like it's not taking that long to get a PS4 re-release.
Yeah.
So I definitely see this one having merit, at least. And besides,
especially if you, as a game designer's perspective, you have the same code, the same thing, you just need to make a better, prettier engine, and if they've taken this amount of time just to make it 1080p 60 FPS, my god.
yeah.
That is going to be one pretty shiny game.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely going to be very competitive with Forza Horizon 2, if that's true, or that and Project Cars.
Oh yeah,
and especially with Slightly Mad.
And I haven't heard much about Project Cars, but you know what? Nope, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, especially with Project Cars coming out from Slightly Mad Studios, it's like there's going to be a lot of competition between those three fronts if they, showcase to be very pretty eye candy.
Oh, no kidding. Like if not only this was announced, but also going back to last week's topic, if Forza Horizon 5 is announced, Forza Horizon 2 is announced for this year, that is going to be an impressive competition, because one's an indie title and the other two are AAA titles from their respective studios.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I really hope with Gran Turismo, I've been waiting for a Gran Turismo game to have that same enjoyment factor like Gran Turismo 3 A-Spec. I have not seen anything like that ever since.
It's ironic you bring it up, because that's the last time I actually played a Gran Turismo game.
That's like my favorite one in the series is Gran Turismo 3 on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, because no offense, I did respect the later titles, but once I got my hands on, say, like games like Forza or Eve and Project Gotham Racing on Xbox, it's just like, yeah, I just prefer the feel of these games more than Gran Turismo, and kind of Gran Turismo fell off my radar, basically. After 3, in all due respect.
Yeah, and I was suckered in to try out Tourist Trophy, which is supposed to be the spin-off of Gran Turismo, but instead you're driving with motorcycles.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Really? Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but it was just pretty much Gran Turismo 4, but with motorcycles slapped on, pretty much.
Basically DLC, but just a $60 game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Now the next one, I think is going to be a very controversial one. God of War 4 teaser will be present. Will be CG with snippets of in-engine footage. A little early for reveal, but it's designed to offset negativity surrounding canceled new IP and to generate excitement. Also to particularly offset CG announcement of Gears of War. Oh, partially, thank you. Offset CG announcement of Gears of War reboot at Microsoft's presser. Late 2015, date won't be announced.
I can't see this as a late 2015 release.
No.
There's no way. And especially with Santa Monica Studios with the recent layoffs.
Yeah. Not the recent layoffs, but the firing of Stig Edmondson, who was the creative director of God of War 3.
I thought... Wait, he was fired? I thought he left on his own terms.
It was either fired or he was let go, but still, that is a big negative on, Santa Monica's end, especially he was the one behind the vision for God of War 3. Because let's face facts, Ascension, it did really hurt the franchise.
Yeah.
If this game turns out to be true, I really want it to be set in a new setting and not Greek mythology.
That's the thing I'm hoping too, because if it's Kratos again as another prequel, it's gonna kill the franchise. I'm telling you this. But
oh god, yes, it's like we don't need any more of those prequels.
But whether it is Kratos or whether it's a new setting, I gotta say, I find it highly hypocritical in that sentence right there that Sony thinks to offset the negativity surrounding that canceled IP is to revive an old one from last generation because, oh, it's our best-selling one? No, I think that's just laziness.
Yeah, that's. I think that's a little arrogant. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is not the case. But remember, and I'm not pointing fingers at Sony, but remember when Sony was being a little snide when the PlayStation 3 era started?
Oh yeah.
I hope we're not returning back to that, because
No.
this sentiment right here, it feels to me it is, because if they really think that a God of War teaser, in all honesty, is better than a new IP from the same team, I think that is just, I think that's crazy talk, in all honesty. Because how many God of War games have we had, including numerical entries? A lot.
About 7 or 8.
I mean, no offense, I think 7 or 8.
I'm just talking about original titles. I mean, we had 1, 2, we had Betrayal on the phones, and then we had Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta on the PSP, and then 3 on the PS3, and Ascension on the PS3 as well.
Yep.
So,
and the recent releases from God of War collection for the Vita as well too, but they're re-releases nevertheless because of the original source from PlayStation 2. But that being said, they're just running this franchise to the ground. If they announce God of War 4, even in a new setting and as a semi-reboot because of a new character, that's fine, but you're just gonna run this series to the ground. Would it be better just to revive that canceled IP?
Oh yeah.
That money and budget and time instead of reviving God of War? In all fairness, I'm all God of War out. And also, I've honestly played better. I've played actual better action adventure games in the style of God of War than God of War itself.
And ones that predated God of War. Like Devil May Cry, for instance.
Or even, I know a lot of people...
Onimusha.
Or even a lot of people are really 50-50 about this, but you gotta admit, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, for what it was really good.
The first one, yes.
Yeah, the first one. 2 was really 50-50, but yeah, the whole ideal I'm trying to get at was a good idea of what they're trying to strive to do. But going back to what we're talking about, I don't see it as a late 2015. I see it as I actually see this being announced at E3 2015 more realistically.
Yes.
Than this year, to be honest.
Yeah.
And if so, either which way, I'm just ticked off because I'm just done with God of War. And that's the thing too. Whether this game's gonna be good or not, it shouldn't matter because I do have a feeling once this game comes out, it is gonna bomb hard.
Oh yeah.
I think it's more
if they don't,
announcements.
I think
like it's being made.
I think it's gonna bomb hard if they don't innovate. That's the only thing. Because God of War Ascension, when you take a look at it, it didn't really seem like... I mean, after God of War, the first God of War, it seems like they didn't really innovate that much with anything new to evolve the franchise for the better.
Now, what we're trying to say is, innovation does not mean it's a crap game. No. We're just saying, to make a game even better, you need more innovation than just making a game even better.
Yeah. But anyway, let's go ahead and get off this topic and go on to the next one because I'm actually kind of excited about this one.
You're not the only one because I'm excited to hear about this if this turns out to be true. But this turned out to be true because there was a recent trademark that did show a trademark by the name of Killstrain, and said trademark is supposedly related to a possible Syphon Filter reboot for the PlayStation 4. Sony Bend, the creators of the IP, are working on revamping the franchise. Stealth, beautiful visuals, and a possible 2014 title. Bend finally getting to join the big boys.
I think this is... Yeah, if this turns out to be true, I'm just gonna... I would just poo my pants with excitement, because that was one thing I actually liked from the PlayStation era was Syphon Filter.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, originally Syphon Filter, I think it was supposed to be in line to be kind of similar to the Metal Gear franchise, but with more of an action-based approach. But yeah, it's like one of the... It's just like, that's kind of one of the things, you know, that try to go for that style that I actually liked, that wasn't... that didn't try to be like all the other stealth-based games out there. It's like you had a combination of stealth, action, and really good storytelling for that matter. And it's just, that's one of the reasons. That's many of the reasons why I like Syphon Filter. Well, the the first game, second game, and third game. But I still haven't played the PSP games. But anyway, what were you trying to say, Paul?
I think the precursor. It seems like a precursor to me, the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell games before, like a more action-oriented. So I mean, if that's the case, then to reboot a game that was a great game for its time, it kind of got swept under the rug, and it got great reviews, but it was still kind of overlooked. It would be really nice to have them put their hat, or throw their hat in the ring again.
Oh, of course. I mean, seriously, who doesn't like Gabe Logan as a protagonist in a game like that?
Agreed.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome.
If there's one thing I'm disappointed to hear about this, I'm not disappointed to hear that they're reviving Syphon Filter. I'm disappointed, however, to hear that it's going to be a full-on reboot, because the way that Logan Shadow ended, which was the last PSP game to come out for the system, it ended on a cliffhanger.
Yep, that it did.
And it was actually a well-written game by famed comic writer Greg Rucka. So yeah, it was a really good story for that particular game. But it's just like, I'm hoping when they mean reboot, they hope they mean revival, not a complete going back to square one. You know what I mean? Because I feel like they have to address that cliffhanger at the end of that game. Then if it feels like it's gonna be the final game, then reboot it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they didn't. I mean, I won't spoil it or anything. But if you know what happens to the characters at the end of Logan Shadow, not all of them are killed.
Right.
The main ones. But anyway. But yeah, I hope this does turn out to be true, because I could go for another game. I mean, I played. I mean, after the PlayStation 1 era, of course, we got Omega Strike on the PS2, and I kind of felt like that game didn't really live up to the name Syphon Filter.
Right. It felt like it was a game that was good, but it was just slapped on for the sake of having the Syphon Filter name continue.
Yeah. But
I would like to see a game. I would like to see a game that doesn't follow the Metal Gear path and only make a pretty game that is only like 90 minutes long. So let's hope that they put some effort into it, kind of thing.
Agreed. The next one I'm especially excited for, because this is an IP I've been loving since I first got my PlayStation way back in Christmas Eve 1997. Wipeout is also making the transition to the PlayStation 4. Source is unsure of who is developing it, but hints it could be Sony London, Evolution, or Firesprite. For those who don't know who Firesprite is, Firesprite is a recently launched independent studio, which is basically a spiritual successor to the original devs of Wipeout, i.e. Sony Liverpool, i.e. Psygnosis. To be frank, I'm actually hoping it's Firesprite, because I feel like it'll be best to continue the franchise with the original IP creators. No disrespect to Evolution nor Sony London, because let's face fact, Evolution, I don't think they are working on Wipeout, because due to the fact they're hard at work, and I can't believe they still are, because I'm still ticked off of what they're planning to do with that game. But Drive Club.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, don't get me started. That whole crap what they're doing with the PlayStation Plus version.
Oh, with the microtransactions?
Yeah.
Why?
But, well, it's not only that, but the game's coming out in October too. But besides that, I'm glad to hear that if this is true, I'm glad to hear Wipeout is continuing. I also had the feeling of that it was continuing due to the fact that if we saw the Facebook page for the last released game in the series, which was Wipeout for the PlayStation Vita. I can't recall the full title of the game, but it was the PS Vita installment. They did say we are not dead, so...
What? Oh, I can't remember what it is, but it's funny that they're saying that Wipeout may be making a comeback, but the thing is, I have one game that is Wipeout related, and when we got the free games based on the the PlayStation Network outage, one of them was Wipeout HD Fury. Yeah, but I have not have taken the time to actually play that game.
It's good.
Because I heard that the game is very similar to that of Nintendo's F-Zero series in a sense.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah. Think of what was the one on the GameCube, F-Zero GX.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think of that, but the PlayStation's precursor. They were the first ones to come up with that kind of style of really, really fast. You're gonna mess up if you're not paying attention kind of gameplay.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Like
Okay.
really fast, fully 3D polygonal racer. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were the innovators of that type of typical racing genre. But
The only futuristic, real fast 3D polygonal racer I ever played from Sony was Kinetica on the PS2, and that was like a launch title or like a launch window title for that
oh
system.
man, dude, you gave me hyped up because I thought you were gonna say Jet Moto.
As far as Genesis was
No, not Jet Moto. That was PS1.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Kinetica, where
Oh,
the
PlayStation 2. Okay.
the ro-
what happened?
robot racers.
Yeah, the one that was ironically also created
yeah.
by David Jaffe.
I received one of his
Yes.
famous lectures.
Which,
Yes.
ironically, if you didn't know, Kinetica's engine is in
Always the
fact the
same.
engine that was utilized to
Discipline.
create God of War.
Dreams,
Yes.
honor.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was.
One of those.
No joke. Anyway,
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's
this
continue.
This is an interesting one. Quantic Dream. Okay, we assume they must be working on something because of
So it's true.
last year's event. They showed off
Baron
their
David
little
Hollander.
mini movie called The Dark Sorcerer, and to show the in-game engine that they're creating. Well, they have a trailer prepared, Quantic Dream, but the source is unsure whether it is penciled in for Gamescom or E3. Sony will be watching Microsoft's presser earlier in the day to gauge whether additional titles will need to be slotted into dampen hype. Expect Dark Sorcerer-like visuals in real time. Off topic but still relevant, they are close to deal to become a worldwide studios developer akin to Ready at Dawn.
interesting.
There's too much skepticism for me to think that
Oh yeah.
You know what? No,
that's a little too much.
no offense, guys, but I could care less because the only Quantic Dream game I liked was Nomad. Their very first game.
Activating combat mode.
You know that weird futuristic game that had, for some weird reason, David Bowie?
Modulating phase.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that on the wasn't that on the Dreamcast of all systems?
Yeah. Yeah, it was,
Yeah, it was.
like, I liked that game, and I especially liked, Fahrenheit, also known as Indigo Prophecy, but when it came to both, Beyond Two Souls, and especially Heavy Rain, don't get me wrong, I love those types of stories. Like, especially with Heavy Rain, I'm all into noir type of stories.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just too realistic to me, and it didn't feel like they were actual games. They felt like they were just, it felt like we were going back in time to the mid to late 90s when we saw, what were they called? Like they were supposed to be the big thing, like for example, Night Trap.
Oh,
The interactive movies.
Yeah, interactive
Yes.
movies.
Yes, to me, I felt that was a successor to that, and I don't like that style because when I play a game, I want to have an engaging story, yes, but at the same time, I want to feel like I'm actually controlling the character itself. You know what I mean?
Right. But at least you don't have any cheesy guys wearing like black outfits to kidnap a bunch of girls or whatever.
True. But
Like,
just
You
like
know what? the thing with that ruined it for me was Heavy Rain. Jason, Jason,
Oh.
Jason, just
Jason.
going around looking for your
Jason.
Jason!
Oh god.
The Jason.
Yep.
Yes, the Jason game.
Activating combat mode.
Had its own dedicated button. Why? Why, David Cage? Why do you
Why
make
did
people?
you make?
Why do you make the people
Why-
fall asleep?
Why did you make that into a boring internet meme?
Oh hell, you should hear him talk. He makes people fall asleep.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
do it, Zach.
This is like the most revolutionary thing we ever done. We look how realistic everything's become. Yeah, I'm just snooping.
We want you to make the feel the game. You can feel the game by putting your hand inside the screen and feel the game. You can feel the characters. They can feel. The keyword being feel. I'm French.
So he's Peter Monalou Jr. but French?
Yes.
No, he's worse than Peter Molyneux. I think he's worse than Peter Molyneux.
You know what he is? He's actually the Uwe Boll of video games.
Like,
oh God!
The way I see it,
God.
you have Peter Molyneux, then you have Hideo Kojima, then way going down, like you're almost at the center of the freaking earth. That's David Cage.
Mm-hmm. Oh, jeez.
That's bad.
Speaking of which, since I want to get off topic as quick as possible as we can because of this particular developer, but speaking of which, Red Dawn, their upcoming game, Order of 1886, will get a stage demo, and it's a big title for this year, for this holiday season. Sony is expecting great things from said title. Franchise hopes rest on its performance, which is great to hear, but at the same time, that's really scary to hear too.
Mm-hmm.
Because imagine the potential of this also bombing. If this bombs, that franchise is dead.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, from what was shown last year, the Order 1886, I mean, it goes for that post-Civil War feel, and
Yeah.
I mean, I really like how it's portrayed, but it kind of didn't sell me on what it was going for at first. I just need to be, I actually need to see more of what they're showing this
Agreed.
year at their press conference. I mean, it has potential, but there's also potential that it could flop, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Potential failure.
Oh yeah. Now the one after that is interesting. Ninja Theory, the developer of last generation's PlayStation 3 exclusive Heavenly Sword, as well as the recent DMC reboot titled DMC Devil May Cry for Capcom. They apparently are working on a PlayStation 4 exclusive, possible Heavenly Sword sequel, which was shelved a number of years ago, quite far into development.
That would please a lot of fans if that was true.
It would, but at the same time, it sucks because that game was shelved for a number of years. And in fact, if I recall correctly, since Ninja Theory didn't want to work on said sequel because their philosophy is that when they make a game, they want to make a game. They don't want to make a franchise holder. You know what I mean? They want to make one game and go on to another one. You know, create more new IPs in the ecosystem that is in the industry. But yeah, I remember way back when they said they weren't doing it, there were talks that Sony Cambridge were going to be the developer for Heavenly Sword 2. So I'm glad to hear at least. I like to hear. I'm still hoping of hopes to see them doing a sequel to DMC Devil May Cry. But I don't mind one bit of them returning to Heavenly Sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of Sony London, like we did earlier with regards to Wipeout, they too will be at E3. Their first AAA title in many years. A third-person title. It's gorgeous, and they're back with a bang. Now, to preface, there means that, you know, the developer. They're not, you know, emphasizing on what the IP supposedly is.
Well, what did they make? I just need something to kind of refresh.
Sony London, they were the developer that created The Getaway.
Oh, okay. I see what
really?
you're... Based off the movie?
No. The Getaway.
No, that's the Italian club or whatever it was.
Italian Job.
Or
Yes.
The Italian Job. The Getaway. Oh, okay. Now I know what you're saying. But they're making a third-person title. Would it be like an adventure game or a shooter or something?
You know what? Since I'm going on a limb, and since supposedly what we just talked about, Ninja Theory, since they're possibly reviving that long-shelved sequel to their own IP. Call me crazy, but remember remember way back when the PlayStation 3 was first unveiled, the first game that Sony London announced was The Getaway 3.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was the game that they're reviving and making their first big title for their PlayStation 4 unveiling.
Interesting.
It's possible.
It is possible, but again, I would like to see something new from them.
Yeah.
Especially with what Guerrilla Games is going to be doing.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Guerrilla Games, nice leeway.
Guerrilla
Guerrilla Games brings their RPG to E3. Provocative setting, very interesting. Insane visuals as usual, of course. As good reaction to the title is expected, will please hardcore fans.
Hmm.
Activating combat mode.
Now, no disrespect to the developer in question, but I just don't see the transition from them going from first-person shooter developer to Western RPG developer going well.
Well, the only thing I could see them doing in RPG really well is if they stuck with that first-person shooter setting, like with what
Fallout.
well,
Like a Fallout style?
like Fallout or Borderlands, basically.
Or even Elder Scrolls, because that also uses a first-person perspective too. So. Yeah, you do got a point, but it's just like, Guerrilla Games has always been that developer that's been making nothing but first-person shooters. So them going from one genre to a completely obscure genre in their repertoire just feels, I don't know, it feels very ambitious, but at the same time, it could just completely fall on its face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm hoping
But
that's
if-
not the case. You know what I mean?
Resolved.
But if they are going for an RPG, what is it gonna be inspired by? Is it gonna take inspiration from Fable, or is it gonna take inspiration from Dark Souls?
Good. That's a really good question. That's a very good question. Well, it says, what it says right there, will please the hardcore. I'm assuming since the term hardcore is thrown around in essence regards to Dark Souls, I wouldn't be surprised if their new IP is inspired somewhat from Dark Souls rather than say Fable. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, when you take a look at many of the indie games that are coming out, some of the games that they have coming out actually have some inspiration from Dark Souls. Like many of the Metroidvania games coming on the Wii U eShop, essentially.
Yep.
But anyway,
Yeah, but I don't think hardcore. I think hardcore fans would probably be something like first-person shooter, MMO kind of thing, or not an MMO, excuse me, but like a first-person shooter RPG. That's
No, you
that's
do.
how I
That is a
define
good point
hardcore
too.
fans.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
For all we know, it
So-
could be really anything, to be honest, because it just says RPG.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, like, it could be a hybrid of an RPG with another genre. It just says RPG, so I guess we won't know until E3.
Right.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch is busy at work on an infamous Second Son DLC. Honestly, not that surprising, because
Not surprised.
they did the same thing, too, with Infamous 2 after its initial release. With that,
Wasn't that Halloween DLC
I
or
was going to
whatever?
bring that up, yeah. Festival of Blood, yeah.
Monetizing, ladies and gentlemen.
Festival of
Monetizing.
Blood, yeah.
Apparently it's really cool and it has new powers. Possibly it has a new setting as well, and it's gonna be its E3 debut. To be honest, I actually finished the game a
rumor was
week
superficial.
after I got it as a birthday present,
But for some
but
reason,
for
Uh-huh.
myself obviously.
Genesis wasn't.
But
Yeah.
in all seriousness, I liked the game. The only thing I disliked,
the man
I
who treated it
hated
was
the final boss in
Hollander.
Second Son.
Professor Hollander.
Oh, with
That was
what's her name?
Genesis.
Yeah, because I felt the final boss was
The problem is
so
the Mako energy
cheap
that
and
seeped
so
in through the
poorly
wound.
designed that it was
Is it treatable?
it was such a letdown. You know what I mean?
First, he'll need
Well,
a
it goes
transfusion.
by the motif of her character being a cold-hearted bitch as she was in that game.
But you get what I'm saying. Like when you
You
think of a final
unflappable.
boss, you're thinking of like, oh, this is gonna be an epic battle. This is gonna be awesome. And you
Yeah.
play, it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
Why
this is the
couldn't I
worst
be
boss
Hollander?
battle I played in this generation so far. I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I can agree to that as well.
Now,
Like-
did Second Son actually have
Personal
the
Type K.
the whole, hey, you gotta be totally good in order to get this power. You need to be
Yes.
totally
Yeah.
bad. In
Yeah,
order okay,
it
good.
has the karma system to where you can determine whether or not if you're a savior or a angel of death, basically.
But I think it was better. I think it was better improved upon than say like from 1 to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do like the fact that you have to hit on certain, enemies' points. Whether it's like, say, like if you hit their head, they automatically die. You get, even karma points. But if
It
you
was
hit them, like say,
Hollander's
like on their
experiment.
vulnerable points, like their
The result
shins or
was a
legs,
normal
feet,
child,
or hands,
which meant he
you'll either
failed
get neutral
over
or good karma. I do like that system more. You know what I mean?
And when I'm with Infamous Second Son, I actually kind of enjoy Delson's power up over Cole McGrath's from the second one, because wasn't Cole McGrath still lightning in a sense, or was it something entirely different?
Well, see, that's the thing. In the first game, yeah, he was basically lightning. But in the second game, you can either have the option to have this weird reddish kind of power. I forget what it was, but then if you chose with Quo, you would get like this ice type of power. So it tried to mix it up in 2, but yeah, with 3 it had a wide variety. In Second Son, it had more variety, and also I did prefer Delsin more as an archetype of a character than say Delsin. I mean not Delsin.
Cole.
Cole, thank you, Cole McGrath. Because when I think of Cole McGrath, I think a stereotypical comic book character, which is fine. Don't get me wrong, because it's obviously inspired by comic books, obviously.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I liked the fact that Delsin, on the other hand, had a more mature, like a more maturity, and actually has a character arc in it. And also, unlike with Cole, when he turns to the dark side, if you go that route, when Delsin goes that route, at least you still feel some sympathy. You actually sympathize with him, unlike when Cole went that route in either 1 or Infamous 2, you know what I mean?
I mean, seriously, what other power-up can you do with smoke, besides smoke from Mortal Kombat?
Good point.
Anyway.
Enough about Sucker Punch. On to Sony Japan Studios. Apparently they're debuting 2, maybe even 3 titles. The first one, Project Beast, spiritual successor Demon Souls, which has somewhat been confirmed because of that 4chan, supposed 4chan leak.
They're not worth it. They're not worth it.
The other is, unsurprisingly enough, The Last Guardian, and it's retooled for PlayStation 4, and it's a possible winter 2014 title. The other title, however, is shrouded in secrecy. I want to believe it's The Last Guardian, I really do, but because of how long stretched the development has been for years, and mind you, this game was announced years ago, like E3 2009 if I recall, right?
No, 2006 or 2007.
Jeez!
Yeah, it's on the trail of being it's suffering Duke Nukem Forever syndrome.
I think
on the
this
trail
is
of being
worse than DNF, because at least DNF was released.
But then again, you have another game that's been in production for quite a while, and that's Final Fantasy 15, what was originally called Versus 13, and that many people still thinking that's going to be vaporware, but it's still getting made, obviously.
See, it's no longer be considered vaporware because it's a main title now, and since it's a main title, it's gonna be obviously shoved out whether it's good or not because Square Enix logic. But besides that,
oh, I would not even put it past Nomura.
But besides that,
with your luck, man, it's probably gonna be something like a Loco Roco reboot, something like that. That's what they made. One of the games they made, Loco Roco.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Or even Ape Escape. Ape Escape. Yeah, they can make Ape Escape.
I actually prefer Ape Escape because it's in all honesty, Loco Roco is more of that obscure title. It was like a more obscure title than say Ape Escape. Because at least Ape Escape felt like it was
something. Maybe it's something along the line. Ape Escape what?
Wait, hold on. Sony Japan, did they also create Patapon?
They did.
Yeah, they did.
For all we know, it could be Patapon 3.
Yes, they did. Sorry.
Or it could be the sequel to Knack.
Or maybe it could be, Shadow of the Colossus 2? Maybe?
Yeah.
Or Ico 2? Or maybe a maybe a full HD remake of either Shadow of the Colossus or Ico, but looking far more pretty.
Nice.
Basically, we won't know until it's announced, obviously, whether it's a TGS Games.
Or could it be a new Legend of Dragoon video game?
That's going into wishful thinking territory, dude.
I know, but
I don't know. Last Guardian was thinking.
But
okay, you got a good point. You got a good point right there.
But at least we can hope, right?
Yes, but let's face it. When you speak the word hope and in a mixture of the these days, there's no such thing as hope.
Oh God, come on.
The industry likes to shatter our dreams by just shoving shite out there.
Sequel after sequel after sequel after sequul, and shovelware down our throats.
Yep.
It happens.
We
Yeah,
need to
it
get those
happens.
brown realistic shooters out there because we're the kiddies.
Activating combat mode.
Jesus. Anyway,
let's continue on with the last one. Evolution.
well, it's not the last one, third to last, basically.
Yeah, that's well. I'm saying in the bullet points.
Well, true. Okay.
Evolution
Go
will
ahead.
give Drive Club some time in the limelight. It's shaped up to be incredible with jaw-dropping visuals. Demo release will be timed with the press conference. Okay, first off, I do like the fact that the demo release will be timed with said press conference. I think that's a smart move. That being said, I really don't get why Drive Club needs more time in the limelight, especially when it's releasing in October. To be frank, wouldn't it be better just to not show it at E3 and show it at Gamescom?
It would be.
It would.
make more
Yeah,
sense.
it would be.
And to be fair, do people really want to see more of this game? Because let's face facts, this game was supposed to be a launch title.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I would want to see any more of this game, being showcased.
Like in all fairness, like in regards to like the last two games we're talking about, like in regards to Project Beast and The Last Guardian, that would be understandable, not because only those two will be announced, but those they offer more gameplay. In regards to Drive Club, the main gameplay aesthetic is just racing, and that's it. You're racing realistic cars. You can feel the sweat off the leather seats. I feel so freaking creepy. But besides that, you get what I'm saying, right?
But we're taking
that's not sweat.
But we're taking Dead Space 3's approach, where we're gonna offer you microtransactions.
Basically, if I recall, that really just irks me, because basically, if you put down $50 for a game, mind you, a game that you got through the PlayStation Plus service, shouldn't be in the same regard in regards to discount, even though your PlayStation Plus subscription went away, should you still own the game? Yeah, in logic, you should. But the way that they're going it, no, you just lost 50 freaking bucks
Right.
on a digital title.
You know what? It's better if you just, it's better if you just stick with The Crew by Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Well, especially if Gran Turismo 6 is going to be supposedly launched.
See, that's too,
excuse
like,
me.
But see, that's the funny thing you bring that up, because going back to like what we were talking about earlier, there supposedly GT6 is gonna be re-released for the PS4 as GT7 Prologue. So in all essence, it's really pointless to be having two titles that are in the same genre coming out almost around the same exact time.
Right. It would be. And and I think I've even seen this from Review Tech USA's video when he's talking about, Mario Kart 8 being in 1080p at 60 frames a second. He says that racing games have not really become, huge in this day and age anymore. Even though I don't necessarily fully agree with him, but he does have a good point.
I'm not saying that they're stale, but they're starting to become stale.
Yes.
Because the reason why I don't like GT, I respect it for what it is, but the reason why I gravitate more to, say, like, Project Gotham Racing or even the Forza series is because it has that nice mixture between arcade racer and realistic simulator racer. You know what I mean? It has at least that nice balance, something I can get, I like this. I can understand why people like this. Don't get me wrong, I do understand, and I understand why people like a series like GT series, but for me, that's not my type of series. Like, when I play a racer, I want to have fun. I don't want to feel like I'm behind a wheel and fearful of crashing into another car or into that pavement. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And then you're done for that race, and then you got to pay for all the damages. Oh yeah.
Just like in real life. Oh my god. Wait, where's that money out coming from? Crap.
Damn
it!
All those microtransactions they're going to charge you is probably going to be just to repair your car.
Yep.
Just saying.
Probably. Anyway.
That'll be $1,000. Wait, what?
Oh,
God.
Let's go ahead and get on with the next subject, please.
Yes. The source also mentioned that the following publishers will be on stage: Ubisoft, EA, Konami, Capcom, or we like to call them here, Capspom, WB, Activision, Square Enix, and Take-Two. And yeah, I will never forgive them for screwing up their own name. Never. However, an update right here. Our source followed up to clarify that he's actually not 100% sure if Rockstar will actually be on stage or Sony will just announce the next gen. They try to say Grand Theft Auto 5, but they mistyped and put Ground Theft Auto 5 on their behalf. But yeah, that's actually a good. That's something interesting right here with the list of the supposed falling publishers on stage at their events. What IPs do you think they're going to announce?
Ubisoft, Assassin's Creed, and Watch Dogs is already released, but the new Assassin's Creed Unity.
Yep.
Electronic Arts, that's kind of a hard one to say because
they might announce Mass Effect 4.
Probably Mass Effect 4 as well as Mass Effect 4.
Inquisition or whatever.
Yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah, now that I think about it. Konami, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain, obviously.
Actually, to be fair, that's actually a good question. What do you think Kojima's going to be at this year? Back with Microsoft or going back to his old lover and flame, Sony?
What is that? Don't be silly.
Because that was a surprise last year when the Microsoft pressers launched.
That's a toughie.
Yeah, that is a toughie. Now, from Capcom, I'm thinking it's going to be the Resident Evil 7 that was supposedly rumored.
Yeah, but I don't know why, but...
People are more careful with flowers.
I don't know why, but I don't know why this, but I've been feeling that, that could be a Microsoft exclusive. However, I wouldn't be surprised with regards to Capcom if they made an exclusive, they made the exclusive a new title in the Monster Hunter series for PlayStation 4 exclusively. That's what it could be for Capcom, or it could be Dino Crisis.
I'd sell them.
Well,
the thing with Monster Hunter, and you're talking to a Monster Hunter nut, is they're already starting to work on Monster Hunter G, which is their online thing. They might announce that for Japan users, however, that's highly unlikely since it's E3. But the thing with that too is if they announce anything to do with Monster Hunter, it will probably be, hey, we're going to be joining up with Sony and actually, trying to bring Monster Hunter back to the PS Vita, which I don't see that actually happening.
No, but like I'm saying,
So
like what you said,
I think
G,
I'm more inclined.
but I agree with you. I think it is G due to the fact that, yeah, it's not even out yet, but at the same time, if there's one strong suit that Sony's been really going into, is the fact that they've been really bringing out MMOs on their front for PlayStation 4. So I do see Capcom coming out and saying that Monster Hunter G will be coming exclusively for the PlayStation 4 overseas, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for the online.
Oh, Monster Hunter Frontier G, you mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being some limelight. Well, not only for just PS4, but for the other, consoles as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, for Warner Brothers, I'm thinking Batman Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Activision, probably the new Call of Duty.
Actually, no, because it has to be someone else, because the new COD was just... When they first showed the trailer for Advanced Warfare, remember going back to the old rumor saying that, the tables were turning, that the future Call of Duty title, starting with this particular one, was going to be first made on PlayStation consoles, then ported over to other systems. That's not the case. It's still going to be with Microsoft, then with Sony and that type of stuff because of the exclusivity deal that they have, so...
But
it
that
could
just
be
makes you wonder.
Actually, Activision, I think it's Destiny, to be honest.
Oh, yes, Destiny.
It could be Destiny, yeah.
Square Enix, I'm gonna say it's gonna be both Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3 again. Or at least Final Fantasy 15 for that matter.
It's gonna be Final Fantasy 15 more. We're gonna see more Final Fantasy 15 and a little bit more Kingdom Hearts 3, hopefully at least a little teaser story at least. Take-Two. That's kind
Mad
of
Max?
obvious. No, it's obvious, dude.
Grand
GTA
Theft Auto?
5.
Oh, yeah, getting a next-gen re-release.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
And after that, there'll be also big titles announced for the Instant Game Collection, a segment of Project Morpheus, one on the Sony Entertainment Network, and a reintroduction to PlayStation Now. Price drops will also be unveiled for both the PlayStation 3 And the
And the PS
PlayStation Vita.
What?
I really don't like that idea
Really?
of another price drop for the PlayStation Vita, mainly due to the fact that it shows how much little faith that Sony truly has in that portable. PlayStation
Well,
3,
the fact of
I
the matter is
completely
they-
understand because that's their last-gen console, but the Vita really just had a good price drop just recently.
It just needs games. That's what it needs. It doesn't need another price drop.
It's like going back to like how we talked about the Wii U, you know what I mean? Respectfully for Nintendo, it's just like, it's not the fact that it needs a price drop, it's like what you said, it needs a better game lineup than it currently has. Because while it pleases like myself, like myself and you as gamers for that front, it doesn't mean it pleases everyone else as gamers, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's the problem, it's just like, if that is true, and again, like we warned earlier, take this with a grain of salt as usual. That's just a bad front that maybe Sony's thinking that they're probably gonna get out the portable space, which honestly I hope they don't.
I don't either because, you know, Nintendo wouldn't even have any competition.
That's the thing, yeah.
But I think that's what Nintendo wants, is because, to be honest, let's face it, and this will probably be another week, but they're dominating the handheld market right now. But the thing is too is the Vita went down from 7 million in sales to 4 million in sales from this year. So from fiscal year 12 to 13, they went down a good amount. So that's the thing. But I agree, they need more software titles, a lot more.
If anything, they really need to work out a deal with Square Enix to get some RPGs on there.
Not only that, but like what they've recently been doing the HD collections for the PlayStation 3 front, do more for that for Vita. I would love to see a Ratchet & Clank collection for the Vita. I would love to play the first 3 Ratchet & Clank games in the PlayStation 2 era on the go. That'd be a great game series for the Vita. Please announce it, Sony. You will sell millions of units. You know you will. You know you want to. You need that money. PlayStation.
Yes, you do.
On the upper side. Oh god. But besides that, now this sentence right here is actually interesting. It says right here, but as we go on, but we'll also see several smaller scale downloadable titles and some HD collections. Vita will get some attention, but not much.
No.
As it's a PlayStation 4 show.
Well, you gotta think about it. I mean, console gaming here in the West is actually bigger than in Japan, where it's more keen to handheld gaming.
Oh, true. Don't get me wrong. I definitely agree. But at the same time, like we just talked about, if Sony is really keen of actually pushing the Vita, just doing a small segment like they've been doing for the last couple of years is a joke. I mean, I gotta give Nintendo credit. At least they announce big titles for the 3DS each and every year. Hell, they feel like they actually do give a damn because they give it equal amount of time to their home console front, unlike Sony does. That's the thing that ticks me off of them. I.e. in regards to Sony, but that being said, the PlayStation 3 will get a montage. It's expected, and a few new titles, because let's face it, you know, the people who still have the last-gen consoles, they're not going to jump from last-gen to current-gen. It's too soon. They're waiting for an event like this, which I can't blame them, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And I know there's still some games for the PS3 that are coming out that people are actually kind of getting excited about, like Tales of Exilia 2, for that matter.
And to be fair, like we were talking about earlier with Sony Japan Studios, when they mentioned that The Last Guardian, granted it's retooled for the PlayStation 4, is it a PlayStation 4 only title, or is it a cross-gen title? We don't know about that.
But if there's one thing about the PS Vita that I'm really looking forward to, even though it might get a brief mention, is Tales of Hearts R. That's coming out for
right, because that was just announced as
getting a Western localization.
I was
for the Vita.
glad to hear that. I was really glad.
Finally.
No, that, but I like to hear that new Shining game that's being developed by the guys who created Wild Arms to have a overseas release for the PlayStation 3.
I really hope it's another Wild Arms, or at least a reboot or something.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
here's the thing that I want to bring up, because how it's portrayed, I don't know if I'm be alright or just sour when it's unveiled, but right here it says it. Finally, the show will close with a teaser of a sequel to The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Really?
Here's the reason why I'd said I'll be 50-50. If they go the route of, let's say, for example, like, I know Capcom gets a lot of flack, and they mostly deserve it, but there's one thing I like they do with, not only with Resident Evil, but most importantly, and most recent with their IP that is Dead Rising, which each new installment, yes, it takes in the same universe, but you play a different protagonist.
Right.
If the Last of Us sequel went that route, like it's stuck in the same universe, but you see it through a different protagonist and see it through their own perspective, I will love that idea. However, if this is a sequel and you're still going to be following as either Ellie or Joel or just Ellie herself, I'm sorry. It's going to be, to me, that's a crap game. That's just a cash cow. I mean, how would you guys feel besides me? Like,
I agree. I would agree.
It's basically just The Last of Us quest for more money.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Right.
Basically, The Last of Us 2, F you, give us more money.
Basically, and people would buy it. People do it.
Oh, people are not going to know that it's that's going to be a crap game. They'll just see The Last of Us and we'll just get their money. But anyway, I think that's it with what Sony has down the pipeline for what they're going to show for E3, or what the leak says, anyways.
You know what? And I'm not trying to be controversial, I was going to ask you guys' opinions, but I just want to say this. Me personally, I'm kind of like in regards to what we've heard so far, because we haven't gotten to Nintendo yet. But what we heard so far between Sony and Microsoft, I'm actually liking Microsoft's presser more from what we've heard so far. Again, this is grain of salt. We don't know if this is 100% truth or fabrication. But there's a little bit more I like from Microsoft's front than from Sony, because there's some stuff that I really liked, but there's some stuff that just made me go, no, why are you doing that? That's just stop. That's stupid. That is stupid.
Right. It's just when looking at this, and if this all does come true, I really think it's going to be I think it's going to be the complete opposite of last year. It's actually going to be very underwhelming.
Well, that's the thing. I agree with you, because if this is true, and if this was the full unveiling listing that they were due at their own presser, remember how much people was like, oh, Sony was the best last year? And remember how many people were crappy on Microsoft?
Right.
I think it's to be a complete opposite. I'm not saying for Microsoft, but I think Sony, if they go with this route, they'll be close enough to be in the same rank that Microsoft was last year. Because there was some good stuff, but there's some really, really not so good stuff in there. Like how they're treating the PlayStation Vita, especially, because that's just, I just think that's degrading, even for the PlayStation division. You know what I mean? Right.
And just taking a look at some of these games, the ones that are actually coming out. The only other game aside from Watch Dogs on the PS4 that I'm actually looking forward to for this year is Batman Arkham Knight. But everything else...
that's a multi-platform title too, you know what I mean?
Well, I know, but I really enjoy playing the Batman Arkham games on my PlayStation.
No, I get that, I was getting where you were coming from, dude, yeah. Like, that's the only game that you're excited for to see from their presser, if it's true.
Oh, yeah.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Well, I think that as somebody that doesn't own very many Sony products. I really wish they did more for the Vita, because the Vita to me is. I like the Vita more than the 3DS, and I own both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3DS is nice and all, but the Vita, it's got a lot more functionality, and I have to say that the voiceover for like the party system is really well done, and it's really well implemented, and even it's got a little bit for everything, and I just wish they made more software to do it. But as for PS4, it doesn't make me excited. Like, no. I don't own one, and I still don't think I would want to own one. It doesn't make me excited at all.
No, it does not.
No.
And it's a shame, too, because last year, Sony did everything right, unlike what Microsoft didn't do right. Like, the one thing that Microsoft did do right last year, they kept to their word, and they talked nothing but games. That was the one thing that Microsoft did do right at last year's event. But presentation-wise, which was good too on Microsoft's end, but everything that Sony did right was way better.
Yep.
This year, however, if these turn out to be true, it's sad to see that the tables have turned in some regard.
You can do it, Zach.
Yep.
But then again, we haven't gotten to Nintendo yet, so I'm saying that's what I'm saying for now.
But there could be something that we may not know about that actually could be a huge turnaround to where they could actually turn out to be, really awesome or really sucky. We just don't know. And
that's why I'm hoping on both camps and both parties that these lists that we're talking about, I imagine some of them being realistic, but the majority of them, I just think they are speculation, to be honest. I mean, I don't feel like that all of that is listed here is true.
Right.
Because that's one thing I love about E3, but it's also the same thing I hate about it too, that when something's leaked, that surprise is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see in a few weeks from now when we get to Sony's press event.
And speaking of which, next week for the Road of E3 segment that we've been doing recently, we will be doing Nintendo's supposed leaks, which I gotta say, next to Microsoft, I am a little bit more intrigued.
Yes, based on the current leaks, yeah, I'm actually very intrigued with what is going on with Nintendo's case. But again, I'm still keeping an open mind and not, taking it seriously.
Agreed. But I'm just saying for speculation's sake, if it turns out, if these turn out to be true, from what Nintendo has, and especially there was one particular game on that title, on that listing, that one title made me go, okay, I'm more excited for that title than the upcoming Legend of Zelda title for Wii U. And of all things, that title I'm excited for is a 3DS title, and I think you know which one I'm talking about. That supposedly is going to be announced.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Well, we'll be saving that for next week.
Yep, so without further ado, I think we're going to go ahead and we're going to close off this episode. So, anyway guys, as always, we all hope that you enjoyed this episode of Riff Table Arcade. And to sign off, I am Double RPG.
I'm 16-Bit Jeff.
I'm Phoenix.
And Jeff, did you have any plugs you want to give before we leave?
You can find me on Twitter.com under the handler 16-Bit Jeff. The site I'm working on is still under construction, so yeah. Like the Iwata would say, please stay tuned and please understand.
Please understand.
Thank you.
And Paul, you didn't really have anything to plug on your end like last week too, right?
Nope. Still stay in the dark for social media. Just stay tuned. Next week we'll have Nintendo.
Oh yeah. Can't wait to hear what what we have to talk about, because I have a lot to talk about for that too. But anyway,
please understand.
And please understand. Anyway, for me, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, which is Double RPG Reviews, as well as Double RPG Game Riff for Solo, where that is my Let's Play channel. And for those of you who don't know or know about this, and since I'm actually going to be putting up a video, or I still need to put up this video, but my 3DS capture card is on the fritz, and it got bricked, so I had to send in my original 3DS back, so that with the capture card, so that way it can get fixed and I can get back to work with my Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Let's Play. So hopefully I can get that back next week, but we'll just have to wait and see how well that goes. But anyway, I still have 2 cents videos coming up, and I hope to get on track with the TMNT Out of the Shadows video very soon. But, we'll just have to wait and see how that holds up and see if I have enough time for that as well. But anyway, you can follow me on those. You can also follow me on my Facebook and Twitter, which are also under Double RPG Reviews for my show, and, just under my personal name, which is Kyle Smith. But, it's just literally up to you where you want to go to view all my social media feeds, although I don't really update there most often, but, you can still follow me regardless. But I still do, post video embeds of my episodes of reviews, Let's Plays, and whatever 2 cents videos I have popped up. So yeah, there's always something that's coming out every now and then. But yes, anyway, enough jabbing out of me, and we shall all see you next week as we talk about the big N, which is Nintendo, and their plans for this year's E3. This is Double RPG signing off, and we'll see you later. And this is me signing off by saying Godspeed and Game On, gamers. See you next week.